Hello everyone, thanks for coming back to watch another video. Next couple weeks I'm going to be doing some camping, so I'll have camping videos coming out pretty soon. I'm going to tell a story video today, and this video is a story about what I wanted to be when I was growing up. So if you want to hear my story, stick through the intro. Let's go! Alright y'all, thanks for sticking through the intro. So, this story is about when I was little, what I wanted to be growing up. Now everybody has, that dream of what they're going to be when they grow up. Well, I had three things. Is it like this or like this? I had three things that I wanted to be when I grew up. And I was thinking, if I couldn't be this, I'll be this. And if I can't be that, then I'll be this. Well, I happen to have one photo. Of course, it's in a picture frame. So I'm going to post a photo of about the time or the age where I really started thinking about this. And the three things I wanted to be. And for this story to make any sense, I have to let you know I was raised up in church. Went to church every Sunday, every Wednesday. If there was anything special going on at the church, we was there. I have an uncle that's a preacher, and every single person in my family on my mom's side went to church. So, one of the things I wanted to be was a preacher. Yep, true story. Believe it or not. I wanted to grow up and be a preacher. Well, my dad, so he passed away when I was 3. He was a Vietnam War veteran, got out of Vietnam, come home, married my mom, became a paramedic and a fireman. Didn't like seeing the results of car accidents and things. I guess it would bring up some bad memories, I'm sure of it, right? So he didn't want to do that no more, and my mom had family down in Kennett, Missouri, and they were all into law enforcement. So my dad moved down there to be a police officer. Well, he became a police officer. I have his police uniform still even. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to go get his police uniform. Alright, you guys. Here's my dad's police uniform. I've had this my whole life. Well, since I was 3. And, Kennett, Missouri. I don't know if you guys will see that all the way proper, but whatever. So, and his pants are inside. Now, I used to have his hat and his badge and everything, but over time and house burnings and things like that, I lost some stuff, but I still have that, thankfully. Anyways, my dad became a police officer, and so while he was working, I'm not sure exactly if he was on duty or off duty. I think he was off duty. It was like some sort of banquet, Thanksgiving or something. I'm not sure. There's been so many different stories told about it that I don't know exactly what happened, but I do know that he was involved in a car accident and it unalived him. I guess it was a closed casket and everything. I was too little to remember any of that. I barely have any memories of my dad. I have a couple, and the ones that I do have I can't tell because they just upset me too much. So, anyways, so I wanted to be a cop. So I was going to be a preacher, or I was going to be a cop. But you'll see in the picture I show right now, I also wanted to be a football player. So I was pretty scrawny when I was little. I mean, I was a scrawny little kid, y'all. You'll see in that picture. And I think I was around 9 years old in that picture. And you'll see in that picture my little brother, Jay. Now, you can tell just in the picture how ornery this guy is. And he never changed. He's still that tongue-biting, overexcited, full of energy guy. But anyways, so growing up, going to church, you know, I was on that preacher path. I could have been a preacher. I probably still could be. I've seen enough of the world that I could tell a lot of people what path to take. I'm just telling you that right now. But anyways, the preacher thing kind of slipped out the window once I became, you know, a teenager, 18, 19. I quit thinking about being a preacher and focused more on being a police officer. Now, the football thing never really panned out because our school didn't even have football. So that didn't work out too good. But like I said, my mom did move us to the city one year just so I could play football. That's how bad I wanted to play football, you guys. So she took me and my brothers and she moved us back to the city where she grew up by St. Louis. I got to play football for a season and then we moved back. So I got to play football, but no football star in this future, right? So I decided I'm going to be a police officer. Well, I was too young. I was about 19 when I started this police officer adventure because I knew that within a couple years I could, you know, go be a police officer. So, not really, you know, having much to do growing up where we was growing up. There's not really a whole lot to do. And I had got the opportunity to buy a Ford LTD Crown Victoria. And a lot of y'all know that's a cop car. So when I got this LTD, I first thing started decking it out. Now it was a grayish color, gray silver color. I mean, it looked like an undercover cop car, you guys. It just looked like one. So I got this car and I start putting antennas on it. I put a scanner in it. I put a CB radio in it. I find a red light that was smaller, the kind that sat on the dashboard. And okay, so I had acquired another red light, a smaller one, but I didn't use it on my dashboard. What I did was I mounted it behind the grill in the front of the car, so it was hidden, because everyone knows it's illegal to have cop lights on your car, right? So I had to hide it. So I hid the light behind the grill. I had gotten a siren. Now this was just a whoop, whoop, like old school siren where you clicked it on, it started making the siren sound, you clicked it off and it toned down, right? So I'd have to sit there and switch it off and on and make different tones. Well, I got that hooked up. It's under the hood. So everything's pretty much hidden except all the antennas and even false antennas. So for some reason I thought that I had to have a lot of antennas. I think I had 3 extra antennas, not counting the radio antennas. So there was 3 on my trunk. But only 2 of them was hooked up. So anyways, I get this car, I get it decked out. I think it looks like an undercover cop car now, right? Well, where I'm growing up, I know where all the parties are. I know what everybody's doing. Everybody knows everybody. We already been over that 100 times. I mean, literally, everybody knows everybody. So I'd find out where these parties were at, and I'd drive my cop car to these parties and turn all my lights off and stuff. Because our parties were usually in the woods, you guys. So while I'm going down the old logging road or whatever, dirt road to get to the party, I'd shut all my lights off right before I got there. And when I'd start to pull in, I'd start hitting that siren and turn the light on. So when I pull in, I'd turn the light on, start hitting that siren, and my CB had a PA. Had a PA speaker hooked up, so I'd get on that PA speaker, pull into the party looking just like a cop. This is Texas County Sheriff's Department. Everybody needs to get down. So this only worked a couple times, you guys. Then everybody knew what was going on. They knew it was me, right? But it was funny the first couple times watching everybody throwing beers and running through the woods and trying to get away, and it was just me. Yeah, I was kind of a prankster that way. So I got by with it a couple times in my hometown, and then everybody caught on to it, so I had to, it wasn't fun no more. No surprises, so I quit doing that. But what I would do is, the town I lived in was not the town I grew up in, but it was only about 20 minutes away. When it was a little bigger town, it was Texas County, Houston. I was in Houston. And it's the county seat. That's what I meant to say. I didn't mean to say Texas County, I meant to say county seat. But anyways, I moved there. I'm living in an apartment with my girlfriend. That's when we have my first daughter, and she's so tiny, she's so precious, but we spit water in each other's faces for fun. It was fun. She's tiny, under 2 when that happened. But anyways, side point, I started just going out in my car and listening to my scanner. And when I'd hear something on my scanner, like a, traffic wreck or police chase or anything like that, I'd get in my car and I'd take off and go try to find it. And there was actually a couple times I used my car to stop traffic because there was a car wreck in our town. And the cops wasn't there, and I was like half a block from this spot. So I just jumped in my car. Well, I was already in my car. Started it up, took off to the crash site, got there way before any city cops or anything. I was there first, pulled my car in so that I could block traffic on one side and then direct traffic around the other side. I started directing traffic. I just went ahead and became a reserve deputy or something. I just went ahead and went full-blown police officer, guys. And I did. I showed up and I just started getting things rolling. Made sure the people in the car were okay. Ambulance got there. Paramedics aren't even allowed to get out of their ambulance until the police arrive. I don't know if you guys know that, but that's true. Most of them don't get out until the police show up. So these paramedics rolled up, and when they seen my car there with that light going behind the grill, and I was out there with a flashlight directing people and telling them which way to go, they thought I was a cop. They thought I was a reserve cop. And so they got out, or an off-duty cop. So they went ahead and got out and started working on these people in the car. So that was kind of cool, because even though I wasn't supposed to do it, it did speed up the, attention to the people that were in the car accident. They got attention quick. So then the cops show up. The real cops show up. And they're like, "What are you doing, Cooper?" And I'm like, "Man, I just live right up there. I heard it on my scanner. Figured I'd come down here and help you guys out." "Well, we appreciate it, but you got to go turn that light off. And don't be using that light." So they didn't take my light because I used it to help them, right? But now they know about my light. So that's something I was worried about for a little while, but they never did take my light away from me because I was always helping them, because I wanted to be a police officer. Okay, so everything was working out good. I mean, it was to the point to where when we were having parties in town, if I was at the party, the cops wouldn't even come mess with nobody. They just let us have a party. We made sure everything was cleaned up. I made sure nobody was, trying to unalive anybody with their fist. Everybody just got along. It worked out good. And as long as I was there, cops wouldn't show up. And that's just the truth. And they knew I was going to handle it. You know what I mean? They knew I was going to keep everything cool and make sure everything's cleaned up. They knew that I was on their side. And I don't mean like that. I mean, I wanted to be a police officer like my dad, right? So, anyways, gets around to I'm 20. And I'm thinking, man, next year I'm going to be going into law enforcement. Well, then they passed some new ordinance or law or something to where you couldn't be a police officer without so many college credits, which meant that I had to go get a bachelor's degree in something. And honestly, college was not in any of those things that I wanted to do, okay? I didn't have to go to college to be a preacher. Probably needed to go to college to be a pro football player, but no football teams. Not where I was living. So, police officer, at the time, no college. Well, they passed this new bill or whatever, so you gotta get so many college credits before you can become a police officer. So I was like, well, I'm not going to college. So the whole police officer thing went out the window. But it wasn't that big a deal. I had fun doing it. I had the car, the LTD Crown Vic, which I did end up blowing the motor up in that car and have to put a new motor in it. And I got lucky, and there was a junkyard that had an old LTD that was a sheriff's car that had been rolled, so it had a good motor in it, and it was a police motor with the interceptor. So I actually got lucky and was able to buy that motor and put it in my LTD, and I even had the Ford Motor Company swap the motors out. Well, when they swapped the motors out, as you guys know, I don't know if you understand the old police engines with the police interceptor. There's basically turbo. Not really turbo. I don't know how to explain it exactly and get it like right for all you gearheads out there. But the police interceptor, if I'm not mistaken, was designed to feed more air and fuel to the motor. They had bigger radiators on them so they wouldn't get hot near as fast. And anyways, they took all that stuff off my engine. I got to keep the bigger radiator. They put the bigger radiator in there, they put the motor in there, but they took the air injection system off the top, the police interceptor they took off, and they put a big 4-barrel carburetor on it, which was fine with me too, I didn't lose no horsepower or nothing, and the motor still didn't get hot because of the big radiator, and it still had a lot of horsepower, more than a factory motor. So once I got that motor in the LTD, I was really hauling the mail everywhere I went. And in the wintertime, I'd put mud and snows on it, on the back. Mud and snow tires. And that LTD, that motor, it would still do a burnout with those mud and snows on there. Which I thought was really cool. Just break into a burnout and spin around in a donut, start doing smoke out donuts, Bernie donuts. That old LTD. Needs to say, the mud and snows didn't last too long. By the time winter was over, them tires was done anyway. But no matter what, I just kept going. And it was a great experience, great time, good times. I can't tell every time I pulled somebody over in that car, but I was pulling people over. I can tell you about the motor. Okay, so when I blew up the motor, I had got a job. I was living in Houston and got a job in St. Louis working at a truck stop. Now that's how bad employment was back then, y'all. I was driving to St. Louis every weekend, working all week, and then coming home, back home on the weekend. Stay home for 2 days and I'm back going to St. Louis. Well, one time on the way home, it was late, and I can't remember exactly, you know, like how late it was, but it was almost dark, and it was on a Friday, and I was in a hurry to get back, man. I was ready to get back home. And so when I got on I-44, which is the main interstate, one of the main interstates in Missouri, I turned that light on and I punched it. No siren, just the light, because it was just dark enough you could see that light behind the grill. And I run that LTD 100 plus mile an hour, and I'm not lying, 100 plus mile an hour from Pacific, Missouri to Rolla, Missouri. Fastest trip I'd ever made, except for when I was on my Harley. That don't count. That's a whole different story. But I made it to Houston, and by the time I got to Houston, because I turned my lights off, I turned everything off when I got to Rolla, right? And I just went ahead and done the legal thing and drove the speed limit and drove through Rolla and got back home to Houston. And by the time I got to Houston, that old motor was a knocking. And so that's how I blew up the first motor. And what had happened was I'd actually busted the timing chain, or it slipped, busted a gear. I don't know, it jumped time. And then ended up bending a push rod while I was trying to start it. And then that ended up throwing the rod through the block, or the head, or I think it's the block. Anyways, totally ruined that motor. So then I got the cop motor put in there. And I never blew that motor up. I ended up selling that car, and it was still running good when I sold it. So that old LTD, it was a good time. I did a lot of crazy stuff in that old car, pretending to be a police officer. Man, I got lucky. I'm so lucky I didn't go to jail for that. But I didn't, and mainly I think because local cops, they knew I didn't mean no harm. They knew what my dream was. I used to hang out at the sheriff's department and just listen to the dispatcher, you know what I mean, trying to learn 10 code and all that. So they knew me. And I wasn't no angel either, and they knew that too. But they also knew that I was good at keeping the crowd calm. Everybody respected me, so most everybody listened to me. So I was a good asset to them as well. But I ended up having to throw that dream out the window when they told me I had to go to college. So then I ended up moving, started putting in satellite dishes, got rid of the LTD, got an old Chevy stepside, and it had the 383 stroker in it, 4-speed with I don't think it was 411 gears, but it might have been 411 gear rear end, because that sucker was low geared. And that thing was fast. That old pickup, man, it was fast. My little brother, he bought I want to say it was a 68 Chevrolet. Man, it was slick. Completely redone. Cherry condition. And black cherry color. With a 350 with 327 horse heads on it. I mean, this thing was a powerhouse. He was so proud of it. My old Chevy stepside, it was so ugly. It was 3 different colors. The bed didn't even have the wood planks in it no more. I just had a piece of plywood in there with a spare tire holding it down. But that old sleeper Chevrolet pickup I had a 383 stroker in it. And I'm telling you what, that motor meant business. And maybe someday I'll tell you the story about that. How I made my little brother eat crow. But that LTD was a fun car too. I never wrecked it. Blew the motor up once. And it still was in good shape when I got rid of it. No matter what happened when I was doing the tricks and pranks with that car, I wasn't worried. I didn't sweat 1 minute. And when the cops showed up at my house and asked me why I had that stuff on my car, I told them. They told me it was okay, so then I squatched it. And I didn't worry about that no more. I'd get in that car and I'd keep on keeping on. And that's the attitude you gotta have, people. No matter what's going on, something gets under your skin, don't sweat it. You're feeling down, you need a friend to talk to, get a hold of a friend, a family member, call 988. But no matter what, squatch it. And when it's all over and you're feeling better, get up and keep on keeping on. And go follow your dreams and do whatever it is that you want to do that makes you feel good, that doesn't disrespect or hurt other people. So you have to use common courtesy and be respectful. As long as you do that, you're going to have a great time. Everything's going to be all right. I promise. It's going to be all right. No matter what. No matter what. Don't never give up. I can promise you that it's not that bad. You will get out of it. Whatever slump you're in, you're going to get out of it. Call your people. Call your preacher. Call 988. Get help. So God bless everybody out there. And I hope everyone has a blessed day. Peace.